Put this down on the record, would you? One thing that RuPaul is going to always do is give you the chance to tell on yourself. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for RuPaul's Drag Race. This is season 15, episode 3. Listen, that daggone Ru, Mama Ru is going to always give you that opportunity, honey. If you're one of those girls, look what I did, honey, and you was out of order, she going to always give you the chance to tell on yourself. I don't know why these girls, there's 900 cameras around you. You don't think that old is sitting around and sees footage, and maybe she don't see it, but she got 92 people watching the 92 cameras to be able to tell her exactly what went on, and she's going to always let you tell on yourself in real time. It's reality TV, and that's exactly what happened tonight. So we're going to talk about it, and then sometimes she has taglines and she can't even plan it when the person's tagline is going to really fit when they're there. T.S. Madison was in the house. Oh, yes, the T.S. is here. She is going to be a recurring judge this season. And she was there. And if there was a time when her line of Step Your Pussy Up has ever really fit, it was this time. That whole runway. The whole runway, when she said step your pussy, that's exactly what needed to happen. That's exactly what needed to happen. But again, we're going to talk about that too. So we got Maren Morris is actually a guest judge this episode, and we also have the TS is in the house. TS Madison's in the house. So listen, like I said, episode 3, season 15, let's go. We got right down to business. You know, last week we had it was episode 1 and 2 together. It was the premiere. It was a great time. It really was. It was a great time. It was. But now we're down to business because we got a lot of hoes here. There's a lot of them. Ru jumps in. She comes straight down. Ain't no mini challenge. Here you hoes. This is the maxi challenge. It's the queer after, honey. So it's going to be an infomercial. And it was really all on the girls. Michelle Visage was going to direct it. Bunch of fun. And I personally thought, I said, well, they're probably going to do well if they improv as well as doing some lines. I don't know if they were thinking about that because some people kind of fell. But anyway, she got her people together and she let her people pick who they were doing. Okay, so we had Amethyst and Anitra because they were the top, the two that had to go and do their thing. Amethyst got to stay last week, and then Anitra won last week. So Anitra was the team 1 person. She got to pick who she wanted straight out from the line. She picks Lux, she picked Sasha Colby, she picked Marsha, and she picked S Titties. And then you had Amethyst. Amethyst picked Aura. She picked Lucy, she picked Spice, and she picked Poppy. And then we had the rest of the girls made up team 3. I said, oh, team 3 was called the Leftovers, honey. I said, not the goddamn Leftovers, honey. But that's what it was, honey, the Leftovers. You had Sugar, you had Jax, you had Robin, Mistress, and Malaysia over there, the Leftovers, honey. I said, oh, okay. So they're doing this infomercial, and the infomercial is all about heaven, going to heaven, and what heaven would actually be like or whatever. Okay, so right out the gate, we get in there, that Leftover team. Jax immediately steamrolls over Sugar. Straight up classic Mean Girl stuff. Like literally, I mean, it was hard to watch. She literally like basically shut her up. They didn't really want to hear what she had to say. And here's the thing. Sugar and Spice, they're Instagram kids. So when it comes to creating and the, quick ideas and what's funny and how to get to the punchline quickly, you are a goddamn idiot if you don't allow a person who excels at Instagram to do it, because that's what Instagram is. You got a certain amount of seconds to grab that person's attention and then to make them laugh and then get up out of there. That's what Instagram is. Why would you not want to hear what she has to say? But you don't like her. You don't care for her too much, or you feel intimidated by her, as you should. And they basically, Jax just shut her down to the point where she even moved her seat, changed her seat, because she was sitting literally in the midst of the girls. Jax basically was sitting on the end. She took her seat and took Sugar and put Sugar in her seat, basically like ousted her. Her sister seen her, because they're twins. She seen her. And they did that little twin thing. They was doing eye contact. It's like, girl, don't worry about it, girl. We'll get that bitch. So, I said, I know that's right. Because all this is cute. But me and her going home together, we may not go home on the same plane, but we going home together. But as long as we here, we going to get you bitches that don't even, please. So I was like, that was a mess. Spice is my favorite of the twins, but I didn't like that. And Sugar don't knock me out. But for when she, the stuff that she was saying was dead on. I'm like, why aren't y'all listening to her? But whatever. Old Jax. And then Jax took over. I said, oh, not an old nasty piece of takeover spirit. Mistress, I think, she was kind of being lazy and just going along to get along, and like maybe she felt a little intimidated. She's old, she's more old drag, and she just kind of sat there. I said, oh, because she's pushy, but she wasn't pushing. She just let Jax take over. I said, okay, well, we'll see how that works out for you all. Soon as they go in and they're sitting with Michelle, shit show, they start right off with us seeing Team 3. The leftovers, honey, they weren't prepared. But then on set, all you see is Sugar, and Sugar's improv. Because they didn't really work with her. So she's trying to make the best of a bad situation, and she's improvising and doing her thing. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, this is where this child excels. You all should have used her to her full potential in this spot. I don't give a damn if you don't like her. I don't give a damn if she do talk a lot. I don't give a damn if she do talk fast and it's just too much. She's young. It is what it is. Listen, I'm an old bitch. And when you get into these young people's spaces, you need to listen to these young people. Have we actually turned into our grandparents where we think we know everything and the young people don't? You don't remember being the young bitch that didn't nobody want to listen to because they thought they knew everything? You don't remember being that girl? I remember being the creative girl. Yes, I remember being the most creative person in the room, but I was the younger one and the older ones thought they knew everything. That's how I became popular. Get into it. That's how my drag career took off, because people underestimating you. And when they push you out, you come back and you regroup and you do your own thing. And then the next thing you know, you done blew up. You don't remember being that girl? Please, I always embrace younger performers. There's always somebody new coming that's better than you, you old bitch, fresher than you old bitch, and that you could learn something from. It's just the way it is. Just like they could learn the history from you and learn nostalgia from you, you could learn what's new from them. Stop with the bull crap. Open your mind. Child, intake it. Embrace these younger folks. You crazy old bitch. Anyway, okay, enough. Down off my soapbox. But on bam it. They hurt themselves by trying to shade Miss Sugar. And Miss Sugar was running around there, and I said, girl, she is really doing the damn thing. It was cool for me. Move it on. Team one. I said, okay, Sasha almost messed herself up because Sasha was kind of getting into, that diva mode. Remember, she's a former Miss Continental. So there's a bit of narcissism there, and there's a bit of it. I am that girl, okay? So it kind of stifled her a little bit when there was some notes that Michelle gave her. She's like, girl, no, do that again. You can do that better. Do it again. And you can see on her face, she's like, wait a minute, bitch. I am Sasha Colby. Yeah, you are, bitch. Now shut up and do it again. So it almost kind of threw her off, but she went on and acquiesced, and it was like, okay. Team two, Amethyst was getting nervous and getting in her head about not being funny. Remember last week, she wasn't funny. When being funny, she thinks it's her thing, but she ain't bringing the jokes, ain't joking. Here it ain't hitting. So she kind of was getting in her own head about that. And, again, as we see through all the groups, Miss Jax was this one-woman show. When somebody started talking to her later on, she's like, oh, yes, with my team, it was just this, that, thing, and the other. And she steady big up at herself. I did this, I did that. Oh, yeah, I had to do this. They wasn't good at that. You the one-woman show, huh? I said, okay, bitch. So it better be good, right? It better be good, because if it ain't, remember, you the one-woman show. I said, all right, girl, that could blow up in your face. You better be careful. Anyway, then we had this little time where with Mistress and Malaysia had some time, and they were talking, and it was about church beliefs and acceptance from family versus no acceptance from family, especially when it's a Christian family. Whereas Malaysia was embraced by her family, Mistress was quite the opposite. She actually left home at 17. So they actually, dropped a tear, gave the story. It's our reality TV moment. We need it. It's our, us telling our story. So you know what that gives. And then it gave the importance of drag families and houses and stuff. So they kind of tapped onto that. So that was cool. Then we move on. I told you it was moving swiftly, baby. I was sitting there like, ooh, we're moving along. Metallica was the runway. I said, okay, here we go. And I have to say, this is when I feel like, and Maddie said it to one of the girls, she said, you got to step your pussy up. Look at the girls around you. Look at what they have on. Look at what you have on. Girl, what you have on is nice, but Miss Thing, this is it. It's just the Olympics of drag. You need to step your pussy up, sis. And I said, Maddie, now that and that is Maddie's tagline. And it was never, I don't think it's ever been more fit. Well, no, because I remember when she first said it, okay? I remember when she first said that was a different life. That was in a different time. So that was the most fitting that it ever was. She was reading the bitch down to the ground for filth. Somebody was trying her, baby, and that hoe came up out the corner like, what? So, no. So, actually, that was the first time when it really meant all that it needed. It gave all that it needed to give. But this was the second time. This was the second time when it really stuck and it hit home. Yes. And I'm going to say that about everybody. Maddie didn't say it. I'm saying it. Me. SpillitBoyTV, a.k.a. Milan Trezor. I said it. They need to step their pussy up. Listen, this is season 15. I looked at these costumes. Nobody's costume did anything for me, really. It really did not. It really did not. And the truth of the matter is there were two that really stood out, and that was Mistress. Hers looked cheap. It could have been, it was like, it wasn't lame, but it was $2 more. That's all. It just looked cheap. And Jax, I said, Jack's whole little thing gave me Little Metal Man, honey. She gave me Cyborg with a ponytail, honey. I said, her aesthetic, period, though, gives me little dude. And then she's not like the softest queen. So she just, you know, when she came out, it just wasn't cute to me. And it gave me little cyborg man, honey, with a ponytail. I was like, and she's already getting on my nerves anyway, so that didn't help. Lucy LaDuca, hers was cute because it was like this, it was like an iridescence to it. So it stood out, it was a little bit different, but that was in the fabrication. All in all, nobody knocked me out. All of it seemed like a knockoff Terry Mugler show. And I mean knockoff, because Terry Mugler is the master, honey. But it just looked like a Terry Mugler knockoff show. It did knock me out. And I was with Maddie. Yes, you all need to step pussy at 15 seasons in with those. Those are your metal looks. Nope, not at all. Moving on. So they're infomercials. Team one. Once they played the whole infomercial back, Sasha did her thing and she got it together. And every time she was doing this whole broken neck transition, because the child supposedly died in the midst of doing a death drop, broke her neck, child. So every time they transitioned, Sasha was giving girl and breaking her neck. Hilarious. It was funny. And it just worked right in, and Ru was screaming. Do you hear? Every time they did it, Ru was screaming. I said, they done won, child. They're going to win. They're going to win. That team's going to win, because that bitch was screaming every time. And if you could make her laugh, you in the pocket, because she's silly. Everybody knows that from watching the show. RuPaul is very silly. She loves to laugh. And the things that make her laugh are ridiculous. You know, she is the queen of the B movie. She's the queen of the B movie. Like, I will never forget her in Star Booty. Child, my favorite line in Star Booty is when her niece, Cornisha, gets kidnapped, and then they call with the ransom call, and the man says, oh, yes, this, that, and the other. And when Ru break out on that phone in the midst of a ransom call and says, don't you dare put your hands on her clitoris. Baby, when I tell you that is true RuPaul, simple shit, I felt she loves stupidness. Like, it's just, she always tells you about not taking yourself so seriously. And she does. If you want to make Ru laugh, the more ridiculous, not offensive, ridiculous, but just silly. Like, you just got to think B movie. You got to think Divine. You know, Divine was ridiculous. Like, she was Divine was like the master. I know I'm on a tangent. That's all right. Just work with me. I'm giving you some history. Divine in Lust in the Dust. You go see Lust in the Dust. That whole damn movie is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. There's a woman who is an old woman who probably wore a 0. Okay? She probably wore a 0 in clothing. Divine comes into the town. Divine is like a 3X child. She look over and tells this woman, honey, you think I can borrow one of your outfits, honey? But it's serious. It wasn't a joke. She was serious. She would say, yeah, girl. She'll say, thanks, sis. That type of stuff. You gotta see the movie. You gotta see the movie. The movie's hilarious. It really is. Cheap. You're calling me cheap? This furniture is cheap. You gotta see the movie, you all. Lust in the Dust. Trust me, you'll thank me. Put it in my comments. But anyway, that's the type of stuff. If you could get Ru to laugh, I mean a hearty gut laugh with some silly stuff like that, you got her. And I knew it right away when Sasha was doing that neck break and Rue, you could hear Rue over top of the thing play, cracking up laughing. I said, bro, they gonna win. Anyway, and it really was funny. Team 2, let's move on. Like I said, back off my soapbox, but bam, and I'm back. Okay. Team 2, it was corny and it was crude. This is the things I'm talking about. Now, see, it wasn't funny. See, it's okay to be a little nasty, to have a nice little sexual innuendo type of joke. That works. But when you're crude, that don't really work. Nobody, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I want to snicker, but I don't want to be uncomfortable. You know, all this coming on the face stuff, and it was just a bit too much, and it wasn't funny. And then this whole Dolly Parton was God thing. Okay, they gave kudos, and I did too, for the character work for Lucy LaDuca doing Dolly Parton. Her Dolly Parton is good. I would like to see her do a old nasty piece of Jolene or a little 9 to 5, or even her version of I'll Always Love You. Her Dolly Parton, I liked it, but I was just like, their whole thing was just corny. Then we get to Team Leftovers. Team Leftovers, it sucked. It literally sucked, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they're nasty, mean asses. Basically, went and put their whole skit around how they actually felt about Sugar, how they actually don't like her, and she was like keyed in into the whole scene, like what she is. She talks real fast, she talks too much, and she getting on all their nerves, and that's what it was given. Like she came to heaven, and all the people that was there working, she was getting on all their nerves. And I said, so they basically made their skit around their mean asses and how they really don't care for Sugar. But here's the thing, you stupid whores. What you did was shine a spotlight on Sugar, because Sugar then became the focal point, and Sugar was doing her damn thing. She worked with what they did, and she didn't really have a lot of lines. She was improvising her ass off, and she was the focal point. She was funny where the rest of them were not. And the whole thing just said kersplat. But she never was going to be in the bottom, because she was the highlight of the whole thing. Stupids. With that old mean shit, and y'all pushed her right out front and made her the it girl. I said, come through, Miss Sugar. Don't sit over there and cry, baby. Don't cry and don't look sad. You got them, honey, all by yourself. You didn't even need your sister's help. You got them all by yourself, just being you. I was laughing so hard, I said, that's what you get. Now, here's where we go. When Rue basically let Jax tell on herself, honey, they sat there, and Rue was saying, okay, well, what about your group? She asked her questions. I said, well, she started asking you them questions, those leading questions. You didn't realize she's seen the back footage? And Jax basically, oh yes, with my group, well, it wasn't this and it wasn't that, and I had to do this. Me. I'm the one on the show. I'm the, me. And Rue basically shut her up and said, oh, okay, girl. I said, girl, you just messed up. She just let you tell on yourself, honey, with your silly ass. I said, Then Amethyst. They're going to get her together, because they kept telling her about her nose. She's very self-conscious about her nose. And Michelle Visage told her, your nose, I like it. Rue told her, I like it, but she clearly doesn't like her nose. And she definitely has a block and an issue about how her nose is. And they were telling her, girl, stop contouring your nose like that, because it's not helping you. You're making it too small. Your nose is what makes you different. And that kind of thing. So they had this whole nose positivity thing going on with her. That was interesting. So let's go through. Of course, Team 1 was the winning team. Sasha overall was the winner herself. She got $5,000. In the bottom was Princess Poppy and Amethyst. Now, I don't actually agree. Because I would not have put Amethyst into the bottom. I would have put Jax into the bottom. Jax ended up getting to be safe, and I just looked at Rue like, I don't know what you see, but I would have never put the 10-man in there and made her safe. I would have put Amethyst back over there. But anyway, she put Amethyst in the bottom, and she puts Princess Poppy in the bottom. And then, baby, they gonna go and they gonna do Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Diana Ross. Here comes where you need to know your history about what it is and what you're doing. We all know that RuPaul absolutely loves Cher and Diana Ross. Loves them. Loves them. Okay. It just so happened that Amethyst had this, her costume for the Metallica was perfect for this. It was perfect for this. It wasn't perfect for the Metallica thing. It was okay. But for this, it was perfect because you're doing Diana Ross. And it was a big, flowy, puffy cover-up, which is nothing but Diana Ross. You think Diana Ross, you think real big, poofed out hair, basic afro with a train, and a big cover-up. And she had both. She had both. Her hair was in this big, blown out fro with a train, and she had this big coat on. And I said, okay, now I'm going to give her some credit because it could have been done better. She ended up winning. Amethyst won, and Princess Poppy went home because Princess Poppy pulled the New York City thing with all the comedy and being raunchy and scooting on the floor and dancing like a man and all this extra shit that wasn't necessary. And Rue didn't appreciate it at all. You can see it in her face. She's like, girl, this is Diana Ross. It ain't time to clown. It's time to be glamorous. Diana Ross is glamorous. And then this Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Girl, Amethyst stayed in, because she wasn't actually in character, though she was in character, because she had the look. It just so happened. But she did what she was supposed to do. You were supposed to play that coat, drag that coat around, because I would have never put the coat down ever. I would have never put it. It would have never touched the floor. Because again, if you don't have a gown underneath, ain't no biggie. She had like a bodysuit underneath. I would have had that coat, baby. I would have played that coat, and I'd have spun in that coat toward the end where it reached the whole crescendo, baby. I'd have been spinning and giving you Ross. That's what you do. It's right there. Everything's right here for you here. You don't change Ross, but that's about knowing classic drag. You don't change Ross. You don't make comedy out of Ross. When it's a Ross star, you just do Ross. You do glamour. Some people, you just don't change them. You just don't. Tina, you don't change Tina. You dance hard when you do Tina. When you get faced with Patty, a shoe better go flying somewhere. You better get the flap in your arms. It just, some people, that little RuPaul Drag Race thing don't work for, and you need to know that. You need to know when. This is why history is important. Ross, Tina, even down to when Natalie Cole came in, you don't do, ain't no cartwheels and falling on the floor. When Natalie Cole was done, This Will Be, it was all this. You on your lip sync and blah, 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 and make sure they're looking at your mouth, and don't you turn your back at all. That's when you play the lip sync game. That's when you need to be a lip sync assassin, which everybody is not. But that's what is necessary for Natalie Cole. You have to know exactly what you're embarking upon. And that was one of them times. Amethyst did enough to win it, but she could have done less. You could have literally done less, sis, and it came across more glamorous, because I would have just never took the coat off. I might have dropped it and dragged it a little more, but when it came to that, when that song crescendo, girl, you should have been just spinning, honey. Just spinning, honey. Ain't no mountain high enough, boom, boom, girl. And not know everything is not a ballroom, y'all's version, because y'all can't do ballroom dancing anyway. Now, Miss Anitra can, but everything ain't about duck walking and falling in dips. It really is not in drag. I don't know where y'all got that mess from. But anyway, I digress. I've said what I had to say. Again, we seen our girl TS. We seen Miss Mary Moore. She ain't say too much. You know, they focus on Maddie because Maddie is funny, you know, so they did Maddie more than her. Anyway, yeah, and it was what it was. Y'all stop being so mean, honey, and stop and slow down a minute and pay attention. And Miss Jax, girl, you better get you an attitude adjustment, Miss Thing. Anyway, I'm out of here. I will catch y'all next week. Later.